We are at the end of the Chessex Dice Advent Calendar. It has been 24 days, well, 23, the 24th has just barely begun, as I usually record these just after midnight, so that when the day shows, for example, the 1st of December, I would then record the 1st of December. Though I had to pre-record a few of these for the sake of visiting my family and taking my boom arm and ring light with me to my parents, and actually having a good place to record is not necessarily guaranteed. So I'd rather just do it in a controlled area where I can make sure that the lighting is the same and where I have my paraphernalia for dice right next to me. So we have an idea what the 24th hatch is going to reveal. It's going to reveal, over here, the last three for the Holly dice, mini dice here, which is the D20, the D8, and the percentile die. We are also missing the D8 for this set and the D10 for this set. So, let's get to the final hatch and see if it doesn't contain that amount of dice. Once again, the wall separating these two have pushed itself this way, so it's now sitting under this hatch, making it difficult, or at least tricky, to open without. Just gonna push this in here, don't want to deal with this. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, that is not all the remaining die, but, and I had a feeling that I was going to have to do this, you can see, well, you can actually see where they are. Down there, that is the other die. They are in hatch number, well, I can't really see what that is, but that is because the walls between these hatches are too thin. They're basically just made from wavy cardboard, but a weight from a die and a slight shaking up, because obviously you're going to do that with dice, is unfortunately enough to shake them out of their position. I didn't want to have to open this apart, but I feel that that is the easiest way, if it isn't glued together, to actually get all the dice out. Oh, here they are, and that's all the remaining die. They were in hatch number 7. Well, they might not have, they didn't start there, I can tell you that much for certain. Let's see if we can try and keep them in here. Hopefully, without too much trouble. But again, this is the mini die, and you saw how much I struggled trying to get the other mini dice out of that place. I could also just go like this. And I'm doing that because this is easier. It's not as visually appealing, but I don't want to get my fingers stuck in there. That was actually all of them. But what's this? What's this? Well, here, at the very bottom of the open first hatch, is something that looks very interesting. Ooh, these are dice containers, and in 3 different sizes nonetheless, which is very fitting, as we now have I can try to shake this. I think it is finally empty. Good. I'll put this aside for the time being. It's not gonna go away. And thankfully I didn't have to tear it open, even though the opening of the last hatch was, I wouldn't say barbaric, but definitely impatient, because I don't want to try and get these small dice out. So, we got the D8, which is the final for this set here. Let's check it out. Looks pretty good, no smudging or low quality lettering. Again, I wouldn't necessarily go with blue, white and white lettering, but they have, and that is because the lettering here is glow in the dark, which obviously doesn't really show up much here right now. And I don't think actually, maybe I can show it off. If we put them here and I turn off my ring light, now I have no other light sources on, so they might glow in the dark. I'll just put the rest of the die here so that you can see, because some of them are glow in the dark and some of them are not. I don't know if my phone will be able to pick it up. Maybe it will. Yeah, you can vaguely see the glow down here and in the bowl, but it's not much. So it's not the lettering on these that is, just turning it on again. It's not the lettering on these, rather it is the actual white paint inside of it, which is not much. And glow in the dark is a thing that, like, it's a neat trick, and it's a nice gimmick. Doesn't always make for a great set. Like, it isn't always a good effect. Most people, I think you'll find, I haven't done a survey of this, but I'm fairly certain that most people do not play TTRPG in the dark. Especially because then their glow-in-the-dark die wouldn't work. Glow-in-the-dark means that you have to shine a light on them first, beforehand, and then they will be visible in the dark for a certain amount of time, depending on how much light they have absorbed. There is obviously an upper limit to that, but you do have, and you can't just flash them once, at least not if you want a lasting effect. But that is a full set. You go over here into the bowl. Then we'll take a brief glance, at the mini-hedral set. As stated, I am not a fan of mini-hedrals, but at least on this set, compared to the other one, it is actually legible because red and green, let's go with a white lettering. Good high contrast, easy to read, nice clean lettering, a bit of smudging on the 5 there, but other than that, if I were to ever get a mini-hedral set and sort of start getting more into mini-hedrals, I'm not, then something like this would definitely be up my game, because it's not just a simple opaque color, which might actually be preferable, but it's still pretty, it's still legible, and that is really what I am looking for in a dice set. Now, seeing as we have gotten dice containers, let us apply one. I think this one is definitely for the mini. This one is sort of standard size. This is what you'd normally, if you go and buy a dice set in a physical store, usually this would be how it arrives. I think, given that I like how this set is, I think this is the one that goes in here. I don't think you can fit 2 sets in here. As much as I'd like to try, yeah, that's not gonna happen. D6s maybe, like it looks like it also made for D6s, so you could probably stack D6s quite a lot. That is also because that Chessex makes die for tabletop war games like Warhammer, for example, where the main dice is not a D6, but multiple D6s. So you would need a box of these for playing stuff like that. This is nice. Now the big one, I don't have a full set of the Megahedral, so maybe I'm a little careful with it, because even though it's fairly thick plastic down later on, the chunky boys, if they fall from a height, they could probably potentially splinter it, and that is not necessarily something I'd want to do. You could theoretically fit more dies in here and probably be fine like that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to have my chunky boys in this box for the time being. Maybe I'll get more chunky boys down the line. I'm not opposed to big dice, not as much as I am to small dice. These are, I mean, I find that the bit with the pointing up to the next number a bit gimmicky, but also kind of cool, because, I mean, it still showcases the numbers from 1 to 20. It just does it in a one single line. Like, you can draw one line from number 1 to number 20 and go through all the numbers, which you obviously can't on a regular sized D20. But like, it's not like it's unbalanced. It's not like it's more likely to roll any other kind of number. It just means that 1 and 20 are that the numbers between them, because I think they are actually in the same positions on the die comparatively. It just means that it's a slightly different way of getting there. So if you are used to knowing that, okay, next to 20 there's 14, 8, and 2. So if it looks like it's going to roll one of those, there's a chance that it could roll a 20. Whereas with the arrows one, you don't have that guarantee. So here it is, that is 16, 19, and 30. So that's a little bit of a shake-up, but it still rolls the same numbers. There's nothing. It doesn't break the mold in that regard. And finally, the small set. I'm going to put the Holly set in this, because that's a neat storage for a set that I might use it. I have plenty of regular sized dies that I'm going to probably be using first. But, I mean, if I were to play a small character, I could perhaps go with a gimmick that I also have small die. I would obviously need to get more small die for this. And, I mean, theoretically, I could probably fit the other set in there as well. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. It's not an optimal set. I definitely prefer the red and green one. This white, pinkish, semi-transparent gold letters that make the letters black, and you'd actually have me sold. This one, I'm not too hyped on that, especially not when you get down to dice like the D20 cubes, because look how small these numbers are. Anything with 2 digits is basically gonna be like, you're gonna have to pick that up and be like, huh? Did I roll that? Yeah, probably. Okay. Well, that has been it for the Chessex Dice Calendar.